Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Tom Johnson begins now.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. First tonight, disability advocates have welcomed changes from the state government encouraging an increase in wheelchair taxis. However, they're still pushing for more vehicles in the northwest, which they say has very little accessible transport.
Lifting the expectations of wheelchair accessible taxis.
Operators are now obliged to do a minimum of 30 trips per month. Previously there was no minimum, and also they are required to make a priority of a booking for a wheelchair accessible patron.
State Growth will manage compliance, with the age of an acceptable fleet also increased given the vehicle passes annual safety checks, and the uplift fee raised by an extra $10, hoping to incentivise drivers to transport wheelchair-dependent passengers. The move welcomed by disability advocates as a positive start.
To have to go to a hospital appointment very early in the morning. Nobody was available to get me there, so I've had to whiz through the streets at -2 degrees, and that's not a pleasant experience when you're unwell. This is a win for everybody living with disability.
It has been a difficult process because these are actually regulations that we have had to have changed. These are laws that we have had to have changed, but we know that we will be incentivising the industry, so it's a win for them.
The changes came into effect on July 1, with the demand evident.
And just in that week, I personally have done 46 jobs with where people have had the wheelchair card, and that's not including the ones that haven't had a card.
It's the second lot of changes in the past 12 months. The government say there was an increase in taxi operators after a grant program to attract wheelchair-specific drivers. But with just 63 wheelchair taxi licences in the state, some areas of the northwest remain without access.
I want to see this seen as an attraction for Burnie, because we need to see private sector operators move into Burnie. I think they can make $1 and make a difference at the same time.
But the opposition has hit out at the announcement.
Michael Ferguson is out re-announcing something that's been business as usual for the government for about a month. I think there's serious concerns about how this will set up. We've already talked to some stakeholders who are concerned about services for people with a disability going forward.
Prioritising and protecting our most vulnerable. Talia Jordan, 7 Tasmania News.
State Labor has once again revived calls for Parliament to be brought back to deal with the rising cost of living. A petition calling on the government to cap power prices has passed 8,500 signatures. With a near 10% price hike coming into effect last week, the opposition says Parliament should be discussing solutions like they did in 2018.
The Tasmanian Parliament capped power prices because there was high volatility within the national electricity market, and it could do it again. The government should recall Parliament so that we can properly deal with this.
I think Tasmanians have had a gutful of silly politicking and stunts from Rebecca White. Just focus on Tasmanians like we are.
Parliament is currently scheduled to return in early August. The state government has defended its tender process after an interstate company secured work in the local forestry industry. In a letter to Felix Ellis, Labor MP Dean Winter is asking the Resources Minister to intervene and overturn the new deal, saying it's unacceptable local firm TP Bennett and Sons lost the logging contract to a Victorian company. Michael Ferguson says their policies, which includes a local benefits test, is aimed at supporting local operators.
For any Tasmanian business, they have got that opportunity now to be recognised, and we'll certainly be looking into matters that are being raised today.
We've got a world-leading sustainable forest industry here that's been built that way by Tasmanians, and we should keep it that way.
The Treasurer says Tasmanian businesses have a 25% incentive when applying for public sector tenders. The sun shone on Tasmania's Ukrainian community as it celebrated a major folk holiday. It comes 500 days after Russia invaded Ukraine, making the tradition even more meaningful.
Bringing traditional Ukrainian festivities down to the Apple Isle.
The celebration is called Ivana Kopala, and in Ukraine it's a midsummer festival, so it's a little bit tricky to celebrate it when it's cold.
It goes to pre-Christian times, and it's all about celebrating youth, prosperity, good life.
The Waterworks Reserve was the perfect destination to continue the tradition.
People usually go to the river or to the lake. They make a huge bonfire and people are jumping over it.
In Ukraine, if a couple jumps over the fire and their hands don't break, they will stay together forever.
And while today's event was slightly toned down compared to their usual celebrations, it was just as special. Children busy making reefs and embarking on an educational treasure hunt to find a mythical flower.
We also have this beautiful tree. It's called the Kupala tree, which is also a symbol of love and beauty.
Everyone can learn a bit about Ukraine and the traditions, and it's also really fun and a good way to spend time together.
But beneath the smiles and laughter lies an unexplainable sadness, with the event marking 500 days since Russia invaded Ukraine.
Part of the war is trying to wipe Ukrainian culture, trying to convince the world that Ukrainian nationality and culture doesn't exist. So having those celebrations, however small they are and however far we are from Ukraine, is really crucial.
Brianna Boylan, 7 Tasmania News.
Landcare Tasmania has launched a school holiday program for young people who love animals and the outdoors. Know Your Local Patch is designed to teach children about the species in their area. The beloved platypus was the focus of an event in Hobart today, with hands-on demonstrations and games to engage the little learners.
It's not just about the kids coming down, it's about bringing the parents down and having a bit of a look around. We've also got the local bush care group here, so the parents are talking about what they can do as local community members.
The government-funded program will run across 3 more locations, including Claremont, Kingston and Howrah. Anyone interested is encouraged to RSVP on Landcare Tasmania's website. The City of Launceston Council is working to reopen the Cataract Gorge Trail following the failure of a section of privately owned retaining wall on South Esk Road. The walk was closed to the public yesterday after the landslip. Works to ensure the safety of the community have been carried out over the weekend. The council expects the track to reopen next week. The Allies have made history at the AFL Under-18 Championships, winning its first national title after defeating Victoria Country. The first half a tight and tough affair as Vic Country jumped out to a narrow lead by half-time. The game changing in the Premiership quarter, with the Allies scoring 5-1 to hit the front. They held on in the final term to win 81-70 and secure the title. Tasmania's Riley Sanders and Colby McKercher were among the best on ground. Tasmania's under-18 boys have won gold at the National Hockey Championships in Hobart after defeating Queensland in the final. In an even first quarter, it was Tassie which opened the scoring inside the first 5 minutes. They then took control in the second, with skipper Max Johnston getting on the score sheet. He added another one just before half-time to give the home side some breathing space. 2 more goals after the main break, sealing a famous 5-2 win in front of a passionate home crowd. It was a tough night though for the Northern Tasmanian NBL 1 teams, with both the Thunder and Tornadoes suffering narrow losses at Elfin Stadium, while the Hobart Chargers men's side has kept its finals hopes alive.
Win or go home. The equation was simple for the men in blue. The Chargers making a fast start.
So McDaniel now, again putting on some moves, over triplet, yes.
The Thunder though was still keeping in touch.
Heath for another 3, you bet out of the house! Robbie Heath from downtown!
Hobart's defence and offence on point, as Devon Watson's magic helped them to a half-time lead. Their dominance coming to the fore in the third.
It goes down the floor, two-handed, wham, bam, jam, thank you, ma'am.
20 points from Watson and 28 from Sam McDaniel, securing a 4th win in a row, also keeping their title defence open for now. In the women's, Keilor jumped out the blocks early on.
Kick pass over to Graham for 3, doesn't look too bad and knocks it down.
The Thunder cooking up a storm from the 3-point line, also tough in defence as well. Import Corey Coleman was flying the flag for Hobart, as was Kayla Steindl, drawing level late in the final term. But Keilor had the answers.
Through the needle, Umazawa was contact and one opportunity. 27 points.
The Thunder getting home in a thriller. Up north, it took Mount Gambier just 5 seconds to score against Launceston. The Pioneers sweeping past the Tawns, leading by 15 points at half-time.
Wide open is Brancatisano. You can't leave her wide open. Isabella Brancatisano.
The home side fought back, reducing the margin to just 4 points with 90 seconds to play. But there would be no miracle, the Pioneers holding on for a third win in a row. And Northwest Thunder and Mount Gambier traded blows for the whole match, the margin never more than a few points.
Back Lampkin, kicks it out to DeWitt. DeWitt, oh, lovely pass into Lampkin for the two-hand flush.
With a minute to go, Siku Silla drew the Thunder level, setting up a grandstand finish. The Pioneers, however, broke their hearts just seconds later. A last gasp chance falling short for Northwest, going down by the barest of margins. John Hunt, 7 Tasmania News.
Glenorchy has defeated Clarence in the NPL, keeping up the pressure on ladder leader Devonport. 2 goals inside the first 25 minutes had the Knights in a strong position early on. The Zebras, however, fought back and were able to level it up just after half-time. But another couple of quick goals from Glenorchy saw them back in control, holding on for a 4-2 win. In the other match, a goal just before the break was enough for Launceston City to beat a winless Launceston United. Tasmanian Campbell Logan has won race 3 of the Toyota 86 series in Townsville. Logan edged out Ryan Casher by 0.2 of a second to take the checkered flag. While in the Super 2s, Lockie Dalton finished 15th, with the race ending under the yellow flag.
Good evening. A windy and showery night last night. However, Launceston and Devonport saw a top of 15 today and 14 in Hobart and Burnie. Across the state, 16 the top at Friendly Beaches, King Island and St Helens 15, 14 on Flinders Island and in Smithton, Lowhead and Grove, and just 5 in Laewini. Overcast conditions can be seen about the west of the state today, and after mostly clear conditions elsewhere throughout the morning, cloud did build throughout the afternoon. Further out, a frontal cloud band associated with a cold front is building to the south of Western Australia, with high cloud over the Northern Territory and Queensland. Tomorrow, the high remains over the continent while the cold front moves over the Bight, quickly approaching Tasmania from the west. Westerly winds tomorrow 20 to 30 knots, increasing to 30 to 40 knots about southern, northern and western waters in the evening, swells reaching 4 to 5 metres in the west and south. And there is a gale warning for all coastal waters tomorrow and a strong wind warning for the Channel and Southwest Lakes. A minor flood warning has also been issued for the Meander and North Esk rivers. Showers and 15 in Hobart tomorrow, 14 degrees in Dover and Ouse, 15 and showers in Launceston and Devonport, Scottsdale reaching 13. 14 degrees in Burnie and Strawn tomorrow, windy and 16 in Stanley. And in the east, 15 in St Helens, partly cloudy and 16 in Swansea and Bross reaching 13. Looking on to Tuesday, showers about the west and south, clearing in the afternoon. Showers developing in the northwest on Wednesday, extending statewide. And on Thursday, showers about the west and north, easing in the evening. Possible showers and 20 in Perth tomorrow, 16 in Melbourne and Adelaide, Canberra 13, mostly sunny, and 23 in Brisbane and 27 degrees in Cairns.
Thank you so much as always for joining us. Kim is back in the chair tomorrow night. For now, a very good evening.